All right, we are live. This is testing as well as talking tech. It's been a while since I've used the selfie stick for good reason. It used to want to twist and go upside down when I would angle like that, but it's not now. I don't know why. I don't know if that's the less than par conditions that subpar conditions I've been keeping it in my room. Maybe it's gotten just a little bit dirty and less slippery. It will, if I bring you guys all the way down to the bottom and tilt, it will rotate on its own there, but by itself, it's not. One watching, hey, hopefully I sound good. I got my headphones plugged in so the mic's nice and close, but I can have you guys at a better angle than the nose shots that I've been getting in previous Let's Talks that are handheld. It's hard to see the screen up there. I have to bring you in close if I see comments. But we're going to be talking about tech and testing some things. My data is finally back up to nice high speed, so I'm eating it right now. This is partly a test to see how much I use doing a Let's Talk, but also I've got Wi-Fi turned on, so hopefully on the way it will connect to some Wi-Fi spots and I'll use those, and then it will switch back to data. It might be a little bit tricky to have that working though, because there's this weird thing that YouTube's doing lately. Not really weird, I don't know, it's different. But if it has connected, it will say, hey, I can't connect. Try again or cancel. And I am, not entirely, what's the word? I'm not entirely sure how seamless connecting or reconnecting is going to be because there are some Wi-Fi hotspots on the path that I walk to work. So, tech stuff. I haven't really talked tech before. I have said some things about it, some opinions about it, but let's just talk tech and don't really have specific tech topics. So, I'm gonna scoot you guys in just a little bit. The balance out there is a little bit much for my arm. Let's see, what do we want to talk about first of all? And let's go back to, first of all, some old news with Apple ditching the headphone jack. I know that's pretty old now, but that's one that really hit hard, and me and I'm sure lots of you guys have hated it. I mean, I'm on a wired head. No, okay. They're collapsed in, it rotates. Okay, we're back. We are running on mobile data. It's not going to work to have any Wi-Fi hooked up at all. So, when Apple ditched the headphone jack, it was tough. So, where's it? V-Moto Crossfade. So with my V-Moto Crossfade 2 wireless headphones, I really, really like the wireless. There's no more cord to get snagged on anything. It's nice and easy. Like if I put my phone down on the table for a second, I can walk up and I can go get something without having to pick up my phone and take it with me. What was that about? No idea. If they were saying hi to me, that wasn't a hi honk. Anyways, it's nice. Like, I'll kind of late at night as I'm eating my dinner after work and getting ready for bed. I'm sitting there at the table eating, watching some YouTube. All of a sudden, I need to get up and get a drink. And then it's at a moment in the video where I'm not going to miss much. If I get up and I go get a drink, I've got my headphones on that are wireless. So, I can go do that. That's cool. I like that a lot. Like a lot. Here we go. I'm holding it partway down the stick. So there's some tail behind it to add counterbalance. Oh, that's really comfy. I like that a lot. This counterbalance is nice. And I still get a pretty tall angle. So, it was tricky and it was tough, and The other reason that I like having wired headsets is not necessarily about the quality, okay? I haven't tested yet, but for me especially, it would be very hard for me to probably tell the difference between wired and wireless sound being better, unless you had a way to seamlessly switch between the two on V-Mode or Crossfade or some other pair of headphones. I don't know if we have that yet, unfortunately. I mean, the Crossfade might be able to, but any devices I have wouldn't, especially with Android. It kind of has to switch between the two, and so I don't know. But the big thing for me about wired is that, one, it works with a lot more things, but most importantly, it doesn't really need a lot of power. So imagine like an emergency situation here. I have 3 phones that have FM radio on them. My flip phone by Motorola, the WX345. That one has an FM radio on it. I've also got a what's the word? I have my Motorola Moto E, 2nd generation. That one also has an FM radio built into it, and so does my OnePlus X, the very first OnePlus smartphone I ever had, and the smartphone I had just before this. So it was, and the main reason that with the flip phone, it was just it has FM radio, that's cool. But then I found I really wanted it when I upgraded my phone and stuff, and I got the Moto E. It was really nice to have, and it became a feature that I wanted all up until this phone, which doesn't have FM radio, unfortunately. Sadly, it doesn't. But I've wanted it so I can listen to the radio here and there, and I mostly use FM radio for music discovery. Every once in a while there are songs on there that I like but I don't have purchased yet. Or, this song's cool. I like to listen to it every once in a while. If it comes on the radio, that's okay. But it's not one that I would seek out specifically if I was using the internet and picking the songs I wanted to or going into my own music library. So I use it mostly for music discovery. But in an emergency type situation, having an FM radio on a really portable device like your phone is a big thing. It's a portable radio and a bunch of other neat functionality too. And the cool thing is, get emergency updates. Find out when they think the power is going to be on. I don't know. I'm trying to be realistic here, but zombie apocalypse. Find out where the last survivors are. Or maybe it's a huge emergency because there's a big, terrorist group. They've taken out our power and they're going around and doing horrible things, and so we're using radio to communicate that way. So not having a Bluetooth headset, first of all, having a headset is nice because you can be really quiet about it. You put it in your ears, you listen to what they're saying, no sound going out anywhere. Nobody hears what you're listening to, so you don't alert the enemy that you're hiding in a shack, listening into the news on the radio, to find out what's going on. And not having not having it be wireless headphones is, I've got a really nice solar charger that I'm going to show off in the video at some point. So not having it be wireless means that I only have to charge my phone, which currently right now I would probably want my main phone, the one we're on right now, to be, my OnePlus 5. I would want that to be up and running, keeping things going, it would, because it would probably be my method of contact. I would probably choose this device, especially if maybe a lot of power went out, but there was still maybe a little bit of cell connectivity from some places. Or, there are certain apps now that can give you, I think it's peer-to-peer talking. So it's, think of texting, but it's between your phone and somebody else's phone only because of the way that it's sent and encrypted, and so you can still talk to people if you don't have service. I would probably choose this phone to do it. I mean, maybe I would go to my other one, but this phone has a lot more of my apps. I spend more time with it. So I've got two devices that I kind of would want to keep up and running in an emergency event. This one and the other one, which I could do with my solar charger. You know, I'd also make sure I'd use the one less, like the FM radio one would probably have its brightness turned down, you know, utilize a whole bunch of power saving features and just use it for the radio so I could get those emergency updates. Or even like the flip phone would be a good option for it, especially since with the flip phone, actually no, I'd probably choose the Motorola phone. No, that one has a lot of issues with it. And it like keeps asking you to install an update that won't work. But I would choose that one because you can record the radio, whereas with the OnePlus X you can't, unfortunately. So, but yeah, it's definitely nice to have around. I was gonna say the flip phone because that one I don't think it doesn't have a lot of other stuff going on eating up battery, whereas the other two are Android phones, going to eat more battery. And with the flip phone, I can record the radio too. It doesn't sound very good, even at the highest quality, but that's a thing. So I like having FM radio on phones, and that's why I like having this this wired headset, especially the one right now. This is the JLab Epic. It's nice even with outside of that scenario because I don't have to worry about keeping a second thing charged up. My phone is always going to be charged up. Who doesn't have your phone always juiced up? If you've got poor battery, if you got problems with it, yeah, sure, it might die sooner than you would like in inconvenient times. That's why you get a charger for it. But I like the wired headset because of that. It's nice to know I don't have a second thing to worry about keeping juiced up. My phone's always going to be juiced up, and there's my headset. My earbuds, they're ready to go listen to music wherever I'm out. Also, I like them because they're small and portable too. So they stay inside of their little case, inside of my red belt pouch down there, and I pretty much just always have them with me. There are some instances where I end up using them around the house, and then especially during summertime when it's a bit too hot to use my crossfade headphones, and this summer because we've been finishing the upstairs, so the AC's been turned off so it doesn't get construction dust in it and ruin it. But the big thing is it has a lot of what's the word? So it's just nice and portable. So I was saying sometimes they end up getting left at home, but they're pretty much always with me. It's really nice and great. The other thing about earbuds in general too is you can do the one-ear music listening, which is nice at Dollar Tree, because there are certain times where if you're just in the back putting away stuff, or you're one of the on the stocking crew just stocking the shelves, they, at least at my store, they let you listen to some music while you're doing that with one earbud in, the other ear, listening for customers, and if you get called up to the front for something. So, I don't know. I like the wired headset, and so when Apple ditched the headphone jack, it was kind of sad. And the more devices that I've seen ditching this headphone jack, it's sad. We do have our dongles, yes. We do have adapters that let us do charging as well as headphone listening at the same time. But it's been kind of sad. And the saddest thing for me, I haven't read the full article yet. The saddest thing for me is OnePlus ditching the headphone jack, which I read the title of one article saying that it might be more of a money-saving thing than something else. I forget what it was, but the point is it said, hey, it might be, so if it really does save that much money to not put a headphone jack in your phone, and you really can take the cost of the phone down, sure. But personally for me, I would have to say that the cost of the phone goes down $10. The individual unit, okay? One specific phone has to be $10 cheaper without a headphone jack before I'll consider it. Before that's a thing for me. Otherwise, it's like, nah, give me that headphone jack. And the OnePlus 6 has a lot of cool things that I was seriously considering upgrading to, maybe. Even though it's a bigger phone, and I'll probably stick with this one as long as possible. The OnePlus 5. And I specifically didn't get even the 5T because that one's also bigger than this one. But the big thing is, phone's getting bigger, it's harder for one-handed use, which leads into Google. Google Assistant's great, and I actually need to work to get better at using the Google Assistant more. She's not perfect, but in my scenario, there was one time, this is a real thing, where I had to, was trying to call my mom. I had one handful of groceries. I was walking home from the store, and then I had, so I had my right hand, had my phone, and I was trying to reach up there, and I was just barely able to use my thumb to reach up there and press her icon on the screen to, give her a phone call. And boy, I just barely made it. So that's kind of my push for keeping me on a smaller screen. But then I've recently realized, there's Google Assistant, right? There's say the magic words and then send a text to mom or call mom and it will place a phone call. I gotta fix something here really quickly. So there are those things. So now that I've realized that, I'm actually less opposed to bigger screens. Well, it does make the phone harder to hold in general, so if I was going one-handed for some reason, that would still be a trickier operation than if I had a smaller device. Because, the Moto E, I loved that phone for its size. It fit perfectly in my hand. It was great. Every time I hold it, I love it. Even though it doesn't have glass, which does feel nice to have a glass sandwich, but it's also nice to have, a small phone. And my OnePlus X, which was, I think, a little bit bigger than my my Moto E, but not by a lot. But it was a little bit bigger. That one feels nice too. Whenever I hold it in my hand compared to this, nostalgia comes back. And I just remember the smaller size and how nice and comfortable it was. So, I could probably go with a larger phone. Although, you gotta think about, so the biggest thing now is less about what icons can I touch one-handed, and more about, what can I do with the Google Assistant? How can I make things a little bit nicer and improved with the Google Assistant that will just, allow me more ease of use. But then, of course, also, there's, if I ever have to do two-handed, like I do for typing, I've got Swift Keyboard, which comes with the OnePlus phones. At least it's come with them for a while. I don't know if it's come with the latest OnePlus phone, because not the 6, but the 6T, just the 6. Because my friend has the 6 and he's using Google Keyboard. Said it didn't come with Swift Keyboard, or maybe it did and he switched it right away without even thinking. I don't know. I like Swift Keyboard. The big thing is Swift Keyboard has a thumbs layout. And with the thumbs layout, it makes it a little bit easier to type with your thumbs. Kind of like, can I show you guys? No, I can't. One thumb here, one thumb on the other side typing. That's really cool. And I'm the fastest at it. No, seriously, I have been off and on for years typing in portrait layout, because sometimes I just start typing because I'm already there. It's a little bit faster than rotating my device. But every single time I do that, I've made mistakes. And I have to go back and correct them. And I make way more mistakes than I do when I'm typing in the landscape layout. And I have definitely used the portrait layout enough that I should be good and whatnot, but no, that's not the case at all. Not at all. The big thing, but then also Google Assistant has gotten good. I used to be completely against, I used to be completely against having, using voice to text because it was always bad and there were always mistakes, and it's like, my friend has some mistakes in his text, probably because he used voice to text. Dude, stop using voice to text. And it used to, like, autocorrect and voice to text used to be so bad that who was it? It's Board Shorts TV, the Roberts brothers. They're the ones that did Kid History and whatnot. They had a short little series they did that was called Autocorrect Awareness. And back then it was actually a really good thing. I wasn't using phones back then, or as much as I was now, I don't think. But it was a bigger thing because, seriously, even though some of their stuff was taking it maybe a little bit to the extreme, it was really bad. And even now, sometimes I find autocorrect, sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes, correcting things that I don't want it to, and it's frustrating, and sometimes I miss that correction. Personally, for me, what I want is I want an option. This should be a thing in Swift Keyboard and every keyboard, where if it's going to autocorrect something, then it will bring up a box that fills up almost your entire phone screen. It's a big, huge box that says, I'm going to autocorrect this to this. Yes, or do you want me to autocorrect this to this? Yes or no. It asks you every single time, because sometimes you might not even notice, especially when you're typing fast. I want it to interrupt my flow of typing and make me say yes or no to whether it wants to autocorrect. That's what I want. Ideally, it becomes so seamless that we don't have to have that. But I think there's pretty much always going to be those odd cases where you're typing something specific. Like, let's say I was typing the name of a character from my book that's not an English word, or any word in any language. It's completely made up. Yeah, autocorrect's not going to do great in that situation. After a while, it would probably learn, he's typed this so many times. He does mean that. But at the beginning, it's not going to be great. So it's definitely gotten a lot better. And we're up to the point now where Google can even place phone calls for us to make appointments. It was nice and it was seamless. The demo was cool. I think that's going to be great for a lot of people, especially when you have to call and place an appointment. And the point is that it has to be seamless. If you're talking to a robot, you're probably going to be less likely to want to actually stay on the phone and make an appointment for somebody if it's a robot. Because is it actually a person? Is it someone trying to scam me? I don't know. But I think it's really cool that they have that. It lets you get, it lets people who are more nervous call. I still have some questions as to, like, how does it know? Obviously, it's going to go off your Google Calendar. But, like, how does it know certain things? And what if there are other unknowns? I just wonder, how much can you tell it in advance? How much can you specify? Do you say it needs to be between these times, but I could do these times? And also, the other thing I just realized now is, what if it's a scenario where Google calls up and, it could even have it where, like, you're watching the conversation happen on text, or like you're listening into it. So if you needed to, I don't know, you could interject by, like, maybe it has on-screen buttons for yes or no for certain scenarios and things if you want to interject. Because I'm thinking of, like, maybe it's a scenario where it calls in and says, hey, I'd like to make an appointment for this time. And they're like, well, yeah, we kind of have something for that time. Actually, what about, this other time? Might be a little bit, might be a little bit better. And then, and then if it's Google, then Google's might be like, that kind of doesn't really work because there's something on your calendar. So let's do for the first time. But if you were on the phone, you would have found out the reason. You would have found out that the later time might be a little bit better because there's going to be almost nobody there. And things are going to... And so then it becomes, it's like a doctor's appointment. But at that time, the doctor's office is going to be really empty. You can see me right away or something. And so, boom, especially for people who might be a little more of an introvert, that might be really nice. Less people looking at them, less people interacting with. Think about it. If you're an introvert, you could go to the doctor's office where there's a whole bunch of people. I don't know, let's say there's 5 other people there, maybe more. So you got the secretary, you might interact with 5 other people, you got the doctor, that's great. Or you could go to the doctor's office at a time where there just happens to be nobody there, and so you show up and it's just you and the secretary and the doctor, and I don't know, he finishes up with his current patient a couple of minutes after you get there and you're good to go. I would choose that over the more busy time. Woo! We have floating piece of cotton. Anyways, I'm going to end it here and check a look at my data and stuff like that. And I'll definitely talk tech later on in another video, see what you guys think. But if you guys have any opinions on this stuff, let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like. If you're new here, check out my other stuff. It's not all just me talking. There's some other good edited stuff. See you guys in whatever's next.